Hello and welcome into Off Topic. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Today to I don't know. I don't know what we're going to talk about today. I was going to discuss like a whole bunch of things. Actually, there is one thing I was going to discuss, particularly about something I talked about with Gator Guy in a private conversation that kind of pissed him off. And I thought, yeah, I should just bring that up on Off Topic. He wasn't like really pissed off about it. But I think it's something that is important to discuss when it comes to our. I'll just say that the way that we react to Sorare in a lot of cases. Don't worry, it's not a whole negative thing. But thanks everyone for coming. Kev heard first in. Germ said Kev is undefeated. I think Kev has been first all week. So Kev, thank you so much for that. John Andrews, hello. Surface, good morning. Blue Tomatoes is here. Daniel Cooper, Ben Cook, thank you. Mike Basson, it's Friday, it's 5 p.m. It's Laird o'clock. Thank you guys for coming in. I'll be honest, last night I started to kind of start working on some like 2023 review stuff. I feel like every time I want to do those things, it's like December 29th. And it's like, hey, what happened this year? And it's like, oh, I don't have enough time to go through the entire year. And so I figured I would start early. But I was just going through the shows that we've done on this YouTube channel or on this podcast stream, whatever you guys are watching or listening to over the past year. And we've done a lot. There's been a lot of talking. Thankfully, it's not all me. Daniel Cooper said the Sorare data version of Spotify Wrapped to show all the dumb mistakes we've made throughout the year. Hopefully we've learned something. But it's funny because the Sorare data content schedule, at least like on YouTube and the podcast, is busier now than it's ever been. So we do like, is it 7 live shows a week? Yeah, the 2 game week previews, strategy show, limited time only, collection time only. Sorare Andrews, and then this off topic here. And Germ, don't worry, there's not another chart yet. But it's yet. There'll be a chart. So I was just looking and it was like, man, at the beginning of the year, we literally just did 2 shows. It was just the strategy show and Sorare Andrews, which has kind of existed for a while. And we introduced a few others, office hours we did for a little bit. And obviously off topic used to be rabbit hunting. That actually started much earlier. I've been doing this since February, which I didn't realize. Like it feels like I haven't done that many of these, but apparently I have. And so Mike Basson said my index fingers are millimeters shorter from all the typing I've done on SD live streams. All of those comments are very appreciated too, Mike. Like, thank you very much. Sorare Soul said, can we have our top 5 most viewed players on Sorare data? We could do that. That's pretty easy, actually. But yeah, we'll do that. And so, yeah, there was just like a lot of stuff that happened this year. And I think we kind of forget, and I'm not going to do a whole review right now, but you just kind of forget like what happened. And so going through all of the shows that we've done on here, like our first one was literally January 2nd. And the game has come a long way in 1 year. And I feel like we probably realize that. There are times where we kind of lose sight of how much Sorare changes because we're into it so much every day. And that was actually a conversation that Nellis had on his show with, wasn't Rivaldo. Is that his Sorare name? Oh, I feel bad now. But they were talking about, he's an investor in Sorare, and he was like, really, when you're an investor in a company, you have a very like high level view of things and just like, oh, how are things going? But you don't really know the ins and outs of every day. But because we're so involved every day, like we like feel every change. And like when something's not changing quickly, we kind of feel that things are stalled or whatnot. And it really just doesn't happen like that. Like Sorare is significantly different today than it was a few months ago, let alone back in January. And just going through all the shows made me realize that. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens. Daniel Cooper said, I like how progressively throughout the week, the podcasts get more about playing Sorare for fun and valuing enjoying the game. which I've never thought about. That's a really fun comment. Not to steal a word from your comment. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's actually funny because what I'm going to talk about, which was the thing that bothered Keith, is not really about fun, but it is. It eventually leads to fun. Don't worry. So there's, yeah. So speaking of the shows this week, because I thought that this week's shows as like a whole was one of the best weeks we've ever had. And it kicked off with the strategy show with Bob Orange Fly. And I've gotten a lot of comments about that show and about how great Bob is, and Bob is great. And we'll absolutely have him back on because I had a lot of fun. And if the first show of the week, this sounds like a total slight to Sean in the strategy show, but like I thought that show kicked off a really great week, which we mostly just focused on cap modes all week, with Bob at 240, and then limited time only. We were talking about kind of 240 versus 220. Collection time only was about the, using collections specifically in cap modes. And there was just a lot of stuff like that. And so, and then Sorare Andrews was just an absolute shit show, but like, that's kind of what you get from that one. And so, yeah, I think if you guys haven't listened to the strategy show this week or watched it, whatever, I thought there was a really great insight into somebody who plays the game a certain way that can be played in other scarcities, and it's a replicable. Does that make sense? Replicable strategy that people can take advantage of. And yeah, I thought it was great. It was great. Bob, no, Ben said, I love Bob. Does he make content himself? No, Bob does not do specific content, but he has been on other shows. He was on Sorare in the States recently, and he has been on previous like MLB shows because he came into Sorare. He like really got into Sorare with baseball, but has since kind of moved that to football. But yeah, it was great. It was great. So yeah, we'll have Bob back, and it kind of not opened my eyes, because I know getting more voices on this channel is just beneficial to the community. But I think it was particularly nice with Bob because it was like he has a very not strict, but he has a very like clear strategy and likes to talk about that strategy. And so if people are out there that have something similar, then I would love to talk to them about it, because admittedly, the strategy show recently, and I say this because, and I literally went through all of the shows that we've done this entire year, but it does feel like we've stalled a bit in providing advice. I don't want to call it advice, but providing viewpoints on a lot of ways that don't really apply to a lot of people. And it's difficult to even take some of those lessons. So it basically caused me to do some. Sorry, I just got a special edition celebration cards have landed. What does that mean? Let's find out what that means. Sorry, I had such a good point there, and then I mistakenly left Discord open, and now we have let's see what we got. This is like pure off topic right here, as I was like in the middle of something. But anyway, let me finish that point and then we'll go. But basically I think it opened up my eyes that we need to do a better job in making the strategy show more about strategy again. That's it. Let's see what this football announcement is. Not a Thursday. It's unfortunate. Sorare Football launches special edition celebration cards. I'm not even going to read it. I just want to see what the cards. Oh, you're not even showing me the cards. I guess I have to read it. Let's see. Every day in December, as an advent calendar, you'll have the opportunity to scout new players in the marketplace with a celebration card from the top leagues: Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, and Serie A. We'll auction the following card scarcities and amounts in the marketplace starting today, like 10 minutes ago, and ending on Christmas. 10 limiteds for each, 2 rares, a super rare and unique will be available for certain players. These special edition cards can be used in competitions. 20 points for your collection. Yeah. In designing the celebration cards, we want the photography to shine. For the first time ever, we've worked with our partners to select the coolest celebration poses to make the cards stand. I mean, obviously, we don't get a Jude one. We just burn the whole thing down, right? Like surely we get a Jude one. Let's see what we got. I guess I should keep reading. We've also revamped the background by focusing on the hexagon shape of a football and give it a more metallic treatment. In the 3D view, you'll also be able to see smaller details to make those cards even more special. Don't miss out. Okay. Mike said, need alternative strategies to spend more money. Agreed. Agreed. All right, let's see what these cards look like. Where are they? Oh, those are really cool. Oh, and it has like a little celebration in when you move it. Not like an actual celebration. The eyes are gone. Yo, these are cool. Let's see what we got. Joe Commanderson's bit his lip. Haaland, yeah, pulling the shirt. Enzo, Philip Billing. I'm not feeling that. Man, this James Ward-Prowse rare like hits, man. Oh, those are all the players. 4 players. That's all we got. Ooh, it's a Haaland super rare. Well, they all have a super rare. Man, damn. These are really, really nice. Bravo, so rare. So, do we have a Haaland rare? I'm saying that like I'm going to go buy it. Man, that is sharp. Daniel, there's going to be a new set every day through Christmas. Wow. Oh, this slaps. This slaps, Mike. This JWP one is like red. Not usually like I'm mixing reds, but like this is, yeah, that is. Yeah, great job, So Rare. These are awesome. These are really, really cool. This Enzo one's kind of silly, but what are you going to do? Daniel said, liquidating my 401k as we speak, which is wild because like who hasn't already done that? Man, those are awesome. Those are awesome. Well done, So Rare. You nailed those. Let me go to Twitter and celebrate it. Or yeah, hold on. All right. Yeah, these are nice. I like that more than the DNP announcement. Anyway, where were we? Since we got pushed off topic there. We were talking about, I don't even remember. That's right, Germ. Rico says the unique. Where's the unique? Is it out? No, I don't see a unique. That's right, Germ. Hashtag trust the team. Yeah, these are great. Ricky said better than the crappy mustard limited cards we have now. I like the limiteds now. I was actually looking at them because I have a lineup that has like last season and this season in, and I think this season's are so much better. Which I definitely said the opposite when they came out, like everyone. Yeah, uniques to come. Rico Mon said unique Haaland. Like they're actually doing the unique Haaland? this way, or they're just expect Hound. Why do we expect that? Just because? Let's see. How many Hounds are there? 3 uniques? Oh, Rikamon said it's out. Oh, let's look. Let's look together. It's a little trick for you there. Yeah, that's cool. I know a lot of people feel the opposite, but the move to like I love the move to purple. Like, I think purple is a much better color than black. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm in on that. Mike said I was talking about reviewing the strategy show, and then you reround. Thank you for that. Blue Tomato said I really like them, but I hope they don't make special cards every few weeks. It wouldn't be special then. I agree. When is this auction? December 7th. What is that? Thursday? Next Thursday? 2:00. That'll be right at the end of Sorare Andrews. Sure. Yeah. Let's do it. Why not? That's cool. Do you think people who love Man City are disappointed that he's covering the logo, like the crest on the shirt? It's the only thing I noticed. That's an awesome card. That is really, really cool. Here, I'll just make me a little bigger. That's awesome. Big day for Sorare. How about that? What was I going to talk about before? About Keith. So Keith and I have this long-running joke that's not actually a joke, nor is it funny, that the lineup building process is the worst part of Sorare. And not so much the lineup. Well, yeah, the lineup building process. They're like, we really like trying to acquire cards, whether it's trading or selling. We like selling cards. Obviously, we like winning cards. But the actual like lineup building is the worst. And since we've established that, I've actually started to enjoy it a little bit. Like I enjoyed it today. Keith and I were messaging with each other this morning as he was like bummed about doing his lineups. And I was just like, oh, this is kind of fun. And so the thing that I forgot what brought it up, but Keith made a comment that it was something in this past game week, where I won absolutely nothing. And I think it was on Tuesday when he like submitted his lineups and he's like, I know I'm going to be like upset or I'm going to be bothered or like something's going to happen to my lineups and I just don't, it's going to all go to shit and I'm going to be upset and all this stuff. And the Blue Tomato said, do you think you hate the process because you have so many lineups? I'll get into that, but the answer is no, it's not. And actually part of it is from what came up in conversation during collection time only this week. And so Mike Basson said Keith is bummed because all of his best cards were playing away. Mike, that did come up this week, like the game week that just started. He was like, all my guys are away. It's a dead game week. And he was completely serious about it. And it's not that it's not that the lineup building process is bad. It's just that it's the worst because the rest is fun, but it has been bad. But I realized that the reason why so the advice that I gave him was just like, don't let it bother you. Like when your lineup goes to shit or like something happens. And he was like, what do you mean? Like you can't, that's like, if you spent all this time to make this lineup and getting all these cards and you finally put them together and then it goes to shit and you're just like, you're bummed. And I was like, I think literally what I told him was the only reason something like this will bother you is because you let it bother you. Like if you just don't let it bother you, then it won't. And people really hate hearing that because, and I say it a lot, not here much, but it's kind of just what so I have mentioned this, excuse me, on the show before, that the way that I literally like live my life is if there are things that I cannot control, I don't let them bother me because I can't do anything about it. Like things happen, and if I can't change it, then I can't get all upset about it because it is what it is. And if it is something I can change, then I just change it. And it kind of goes with that. If you are playing Sorare and getting a DNP bothers you to no end, that's in your control. What's not in your control is actually the lineup, like whether that player plays or not. And so getting all upset about it it's almost like unnecessary grief. And obviously you can be disappointed, but it does feel like there are some people who like let it fester and they're just like, man, I kind of get it. And Daniel said it feels like people try to be upset without realizing it. It's weird the things people get upset by. So like I understand being disappointed, but constantly going back to it is just it's not helpful. It's just not helpful for anything. Ben says sometimes you just got to say it is what it is and move on. Absolutely. And the number of DMs I get from an unnamed person that it's like, man, I had this great lineup, but I had this DNP, and it like eats them inside. And I'm just like, don't, like, it happens. Like, don't let it bother you. Like, it's not bothering me, and then it's obviously bothering them. And so Bouncy says like being bothered by the weather. Totally. And I realize it's easy to like say like don't be bothered by this. But I think if you're somebody who's bothered by hearing somebody say don't be bothered by it, I think you need to take a second and be like, I am creating this for myself. And Sorare is supposed to be fun. Like it's supposed to be fun. As much as we play and everybody talks about how much money they're losing and their cards aren't, winning. If it's not fun, don't do it. Like there's really no reason to put yourself through it. And so that was my advice for everybody today. You just remember that you control what bothers you. And so if something is bothering you and you're like, I wish this didn't bother me, you can stop it from bothering you. Ricky said, I spent way too long mulling over the common lineups. So glad I don't have to do them anymore. That I think is okay. I mean, that's just you're taking part in an activity that provides entertainment to you. And Sorare said, but these people create great community catchphrases when they rage quit. Go fuck. Yeah, that's true. Germ said, oh, I will be if the Liverpool game. Oh, I will be if. Is that the Liverpool game's canceled tomorrow when pitch inspection could have been done today? I don't know. Mike Basson said, no one's bothered by a DNP in a shit scoring lineup. It's only the good scoring ones. So that emotion is not even consistent in itself. Great point. In fact, people probably enjoy the DNP in the dead lineup because you're like, well, at least I wasted it in the dead lineup. I don't know. Skozer said, winning 220 limited for my first ever win and getting a feckin' Giroux bothered me, but I am over it probably. I mean, he's the best looking guy on the platform. And, nobody plays 220 for the good rewards. Sorahan said, for me, it's still the best way to enjoy fantasy football. One thing I truly miss is the trading aspect, since that is almost impossible to do right now. Is it? I haven't, I cannot remember the last time I tried to do a trade to a non-bot or trader. And I used to take a lot of time. That was actually a huge part of like my Sorare enjoyment, was finding a card I wanted and figuring out a trade that was beneficial for me and for the person I was trading to. Like, hey, I notice that you enter Champion America Rare Pro, now Plus, every week, but you only have one super rare, or your super rares aren't that great. I have a super rare I'm trying to get rid of, and this other card that you have that maybe you don't use that much. I used to do that all the time. It was great. And so, and that's gone. Like, beneficial trading is just completely evaporated. Like a dual beneficial. And it's gone. Oh, Jern said Livingston game. Sorry. No rain in the forecast, but temps near freezing, getting above freezing. Officials are worried about plastic pitch. Pitch inspection should have been done today before the deadline. Yeah. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Blue Tomato said maybe trading for ROI. I mean, there's still plenty of opportunities, particularly with 220. Like, they're giving you plenty of trading opportunities. So, oh, sort of how it's a yes, that's what he meant. Yeah. I mean, it's harder for sure. For sure. But fundamentally, the game was not trading for ROI was a byproduct of the game. It wasn't the game itself. And so I think there are still opportunities. You just have to have a better understanding of the game. The Premier League cards that people are going to want, the low cap guys for 220. There are plenty of opportunities there. They're just not. It used to be a time where like you bought a card and 10 days later it was worth more. And it was like, oh, I'll just sell it. And like that doesn't exist anymore, really. But yeah. Kev Hurd said the irony of the possible delay or postponement in weather if the Livingston game is that it's supposed to be an all-weather pitch. Red or Dead said, yeah, St. Pauli Hamburg starting soon. The Bundesliga 2 derby, first versus second. I have both goalkeepers in that game in like the highest scoring league in the world. I'm like, oh yeah, let me roll out 2 goalies. Scozer said Livingston did the same last season. I think one rule of top division is under pitch heating. They didn't switch it on. And sometimes you just got to plug it back in. Blue Tomato said back in the good days, one good score was enough and the card went moon. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's still plenty of cards that like one good score, like an outlier score, people will definitely buy. The problem is there are just more people to sell. And so you have to just be early on it. Kev Hurd saying 4-3 today. I mean, as long as there are like 2 penalty saves on each side, let them score 20 goals. I don't even care. Actually, I think I have Vasilj in cap 240, so I actually would prefer not. I don't even remember where I played. I have a Hoyer limited. Where do I have him? All-Star limited. Oh, actually, let me pull this up. Are you really telling me that these limiteds are not as good looking as the new one, which we know can be turned into 3D? Aggressive zoom there. I think it's fine. Anyway. Scosmo said, I've got 2 goalkeepers on a Friday, risky business, although 66 minutes into game 1, clean sheet is intact. Ooh, that's a jinx right there. It's not what you want. So yeah. So the bothering thing, I don't know. Just don't let things bother you. Simple as that. But anyway, I was looking back at all of our shows from this year, and I will say that I appreciate everybody who comes and watches this show, because this one is different than the others, obviously, because it's just me kind of rambling as opposed to like me and Andy. Sometimes we talk about Sorare, but this show was I never ever envisioned that this show would happen. And it's like a highlight of my week now. And everybody who's here in the chat plays like a really big role in it. And that doesn't mean that the people who watch or listen after are not important, but like this show doesn't exist without the live chat. So like the number of people who watch this show now is like basically double where it was at the beginning. And that's great. And it's not like there are a million people who watch it, and that's fine because no So Rare thing gets a million views. But it's good because it at least makes me think we're doing enough good content that people want to watch. I can't tell. I mean, the I asked for feedback recently in a show. Was that on this show? Might have been. And I've gotten some great feedback, and it's really helpful. To be honest, I would love to do like 10 shows a day. I just don't have the bandwidth to do it. And I think that there are plenty of topics that we can cover that I'm hoping that we can get to. I'm not waiting till 2024, but it's just a matter of getting everything set. But the whole point of this channel is like to help people get better. So I wanted to say is to get better at So Rare, but it's really just to have a better time with it. And obviously, if we're winning more or trading successfully, that makes it a little more enjoyable. But ultimately, like we think that So Rare data makes So Rare better, like the experience playing it and following it along on live games and stuff like that. And so we should just do that. Red or Dead said he wants to shout out the So Rare Thursday Club. They do a great show and deserve better viewership. Check them out. So it is kind of weird because I feel like there are a lot of shows like that. There's some really good stuff out there that more people should be watching. Absolutely. Mike said, I'm not keen on this show in the winter. The garden chair is freezing and my beer is now an ice pop. You can go inside, Mike. It's all right. It's all right. This is PSU season. You can just do everything inside. Let's see what Germ said. Would love an HG appearance and office hours throwback. So I agree. I'm actually going to see him in a little more than a week. So there might be a little schedule change, not next week, but the week after. I will be in France. And so I'm not sure how the shows will work there. I've previously not done shows while I was traveling, but I think I'm going to bring everything with me. So we'll see what happens. Ben Cook said, I've been wanting a Lavro Magic Rare. Helped me get my highest ever finish, 16th in limited All-Star last spring. 16th. That's really, really high. Daniel's further talking about watching Croatian football in the US. I don't know how to do that. But yeah, so it's just been, let me see what the number is here. So this is the 206th live stream this year on this channel. And then we had 16 others on the NBA one. And so to be honest, I forgot. I hate to say I forgot about that one, but I was adamant about doing NBA content this year, and I ended up basically doing too much football that it didn't work. But I was adamant that we were doing it. I said it either on this show or somewhere that we would definitely have it. We've done some auction watches, which I'm going to pretend is enough, but I don't know. The NBA product is in a weird spot, and I just don't have a lot to say about it. And so that's why we haven't had much, and why I always send people over to Team Hold. It's now a Team Hold So Rare channel where you can get all your value plays and live before lock and stuff like that, and Shot Tank. That's a really, really good resource for people who want to enjoy So Rare NBA, because I don't play to a point where I can feel like I can even have a intelligent conversation about it. I had a humongous game week this one that just closed, and I missed a tier 5 reward by less than half a point. Excuse me, by half a point. And it's just a frustrating experience. And I don't want to let it bother me, so I don't. That's all. Um, but we'll see. I have plenty of things to say about NBA, Sorare NBA, but I'm not helping the cause, meaning like I'm not buying cards, and I'm in the spot where I don't see the opportunity to enjoy the experience by doing so right now. But part of that is my own time that like I diving into NBA injury reports minutes before lock it twice a week is just not something that I fit in my schedule. Which I did earlier, like previously, and it's just not worth it for me at this point. I don't get enough enjoyment out of that part anymore. So I just don't do it. And I still have my cards. I still play lineups every week, but I don't I don't focus on it like I did last year. Just kind of what I did with MLB. And part of that is that I just love the football product so much. Like I'd rather spend my time there because it's more enjoyable to me. Um, One of the things that we were talking about on collection time only yesterday, which I'll bring up now in terms of my football gallery, is selling all of the cards that are not in collections. And I won't actually do this because I know myself, but the number of people I've had conversations with that were like, if I could get my total gallery value and sell all my cards, I would do it. And we nobody does it because they won't get 100% of their gallery value. And we feel like we need to have that for some reason. But yeah, I've been very tempted to not that's not that's not true. I've not been very tempted to sell my cards. But the idea of I was going to say the idea of starting over is really interesting, but it's actually not even that interesting to me. It's I would love to just trade all my cards that I have now for the cards that I want, but I don't actually want to go through the whole process. And I think that's actually what's holding me back. That if I did that, I would need like a very clear plan, and I don't want to do that plan. And then have to like worry about getting all the cards I want. Cause like what happens if I'm like, oh, this these two super rares are very important to my plan, and then I just can't get them. Sometimes they're just cards you can't get. And that's what I worry about if I started over. And then to be honest, the more I do content with Quinny, the less I want to get rid of cards that I've had for a long time. Like the Bruno Fernandez rare card that I have that I won, I should probably sell. And I think it would go a long way if I sold it. I don't even know what a Bruno Fernandez rare goes for these days. Let's find out. $1,300, but that's probably like new season. So points 5-ish. Oh, that's yeah. I'd probably sell that card easily for 0.5, right? Half an ETH. But I talked to him about this before, and I was like, I was thinking about selling, and he's like, "You won that one, right?" And he's like, I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Oh, that's like a key. That's like a trophy. Like you can't sell that card." Daniel said, "Quitting always makes me feel better about all the sober moaning we hear." Yeah, I mean, same. But I had this conversation with, I think it was Nep, about like winning rewards with lineups of rewards, and I almost did it last week, and I didn't. But to be able to use a Bruno Fernandez in a lineup that is one made up of rewards is a cool idea. And I was going to try it last week, and I was like, it like wasn't a perfect lineup, and like that's why I didn't do it. As if like I make perfect lineups. But the fun thing about the the fun thing about So Rare because we don't have any entry fees, is like, just throw it in. And so, like, who cares? And every time I say that, I'm just like, but it's true. So I went to do it and then I didn't do it. And I maybe I'll do it some random game week. Mike Basson said, "Do you still need cards for your River Rare collection?" Actually, Rare River collection. I do, but I haven't been actively trying to add to that. I think the issue is that I'm so far away from 4% that like it's not. I'm probably not getting any jersey mints, and like the cards themselves are pretty expensive. Like, how far away am I? Like, I need 20, I guess 10 more cards in 90 days. But like $6, $6, 30. Like, it's costly, and I'm buying like cards that literally I would never play. And so that part I struggle with that at the rare level, certainly. I'm willing to buy cards I won't play in jersey mints or one-ofs, which is what this Ren collection is filled with. But yeah, I struggle with the other ones. Red or Dead said, but having a Bruno is fun, even though United aren't great this year. To be honest, I haven't really won that much with that Bruno card anyway. It's part of it reminds me of that conversation, like one of the streams we had recently, the strategy show was like, is your gallery, or how do you know you can have a Kimmich or something like that? Like, Bruno's a card that, like, 5 rewards, all of which I've sold. That McGinn one is going to, Queenie gives me a really hard time for selling that one. But I don't know. I didn't even realize I want ETH with these. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. But I do like the idea of like making a lineup with rewards. And it's kind of like, why am I hesitating to do this? Like, I'm not printing rewards every week. And so that's, I can go back to what I was actually going to say earlier. So the lineup building process and why it's so bad. So I think the issue for me, and Mike Basson said, maybe we could all arrange a game week where off-topic viewers play teams that are all rewards and see how we all do. I would love that. I would love that. So my problem with this idea is I don't win goalkeepers that much. And so Nikola Vasilj, who's a St. Pauli goalie, whose name you probably pronounce differently. Like, I've sold so many goalies that I've won. And so that's why it's hard to make lineups with rewards, because I sell so many goalies. Bouncy said the king of snowballing is Stish. That is totally true. That is, yeah, including winning a goalie in Donnarumma. But anyway, so the lineup process, like, I don't even know how many lineups I have this week. 20, let's call it. I think 2 or 3 of them are good. And that includes like cap 240 teams that are good because I think they're going to hit 280, not because I think they're going to, finish first. Blue Tomato said just buy Brady back. I would let it count. No. That card's gone. Speaking of rewards sold, as I'm looking at like some lineups from last week that I sold both Cucho and Lucho Acosta, I'm like, man, I probably should have kept those. So anyway, when I sit down to do my lineups, I know that not every lineup is great. And so the problem that I have is I eventually think, like, I get to my 10th lineup and I'm like, this is not good. And every lineup after that is progressively worse and makes me feel worse about my lineups. But like, I know I'm not going to have 20 good lineups. So why am I getting upset when the 8th one is bad? Now, granted, it's usually like the 3rd is bad and then it goes from there. But there's just so much like, oh, should I put this guy here because then there's this, and I actually do like that process, and I think I'm turning the corner on whether the lineup building process being bad, because I think it's bad and it's the worst, but I think maybe it's just the worst because the rest is fun. But I realized it doing lineups this week, like today, 3 hours ago, and like I set my last lineup minutes before the deadline, and I think that the the problem that I was having is I was remembering all of the bad lineups that I put in and thinking all of my lineups were bad when I don't really need to have 20 good lineups. Like, I don't have a gallery that can have 20 good lineups. So like I shouldn't be upset when I make 20 lineups and I'm like, man, 3 of these are good. Like, I have 3 good lineups. That's great. Like, let's go. And the the that's where the bother comes in, where you're like, oh, I only have 3 good lineups and like one's dead. So now I only have 2 chances. And it's like, well, I mean, it is what it is. But there's this I'm not like looking at my lineups this game week and being like, okay, how do I make this lineup better next week? Like, I'm not looking at my challenger rare lineup and thinking, how do I make this lineup better next week? Because next week is totally different. Like, the players that I have in there may be different, and will be different. And so it's a tough process because every week is different. And like, I bought a Pavel Bolshevitz super rare recently, and an Andres Noppert rare, like 2 play together in either All-Star Rare Pro, Rare Plus, excuse me, or Challenger Rare Plus. And Bolshevitz got hurt over the international break. He's not supposed to play it. Didn't play last week. Not supposed to play this week. And that's a bummer. And so now I had to like rearrange everything that I was doing, particularly because I had those 2. And so it was like, oh man, that's too bad that I had this. But I mean, it is what it is. And so I put Noppert somewhere that I don't, that's not with Bolshevitz. I got some pronunciation comments in the chat. Let's see here. John said it's all about perspective and taking a step back. Excuse me, I have to take a sip of water. I'm like the driest throat possible right now. One problem with the solo stream is you can't like drink while somebody else is talking. Anyway, John Andrews, it's all about perspective and taking a step back. There would have been a time you'd have been happy to get a second lineup out as back in the day. Totally. Ben Cook said, I don't know Bosnian, but from my Russian knowledge, I've seen the Croatian J translate to, I have absolutely no idea what that sign is, which is the soft sign and has no sound. Based on that, I assume it's pronounced vassal. Oh. Or vassal, like basil. I don't know. Ricamon said, I'm thinking of just selling up and buying enough for like 3 good lineups instead of having 10. So I don't think that's bad. But how many cards do you think that is for 3 good lineups? Like, I think that's the biggest difference, is enough cards for 3 good lineups is probably enough cards for 10 lineups. You're just using the best pieces each week. It's Wilson said, I sold a lot of limiteds to get away from the league specific comps. They're just too hard to win. They're just hard to win, excuse me, and making less better lineups in Challenger, All-Star, et cetera. I hate having less though. So St. Pauli goal. Oh, Quinny, what's up? Quinny, we're talking about you. Jackson Irvine, no way. Wow. So the good lineups thing, like, that's something that we've always talked about on the strategy show, even when it was actually helpful, that you need more than 5 good cards to compete in any division. Like, you can't just be like, here's my 5 cards, I'm just going to run that every week, because, and we talked about this, I think it was on Collection Time Only. You can buy what you think are the 5 best players in the game, and you also need them to all have great matchups in the same game week. And that's where the depth comes in. That's the importance of depth, that you don't really want the best players every week. You want the best matchups, and then you want the best players in those matchups. And so ultimately, that's where the lineup building process comes in. And that's why you have a lot of cards and you're like, okay, what's the lineup I want to prioritize this week? Where are the 5 best matchups and cards that I have? And let me put them in there, which ultimately could mean that they're not in another lineup that you play. And that's okay. And so the lineup process for people who have a lot of lineups, it's it's like a degenerative process that, like, no, that's probably not the right word, but I do like that word. But like, you make your best lineup first, the one that you want to win with your favorite cards, and you're like, this is it. And the next one, you're like, all right, who's left? All right, now these are the next best guys. Or it's like, oh, I have a U23 goalie. All right, let's go there. But like, every lineup you make after that is worse. Because if it was good, it would have been first. And so there's this weird, like, continuously decreasing enthusiasm when you make lineups, when you have a lot, because ultimately the last lineup you make is going to be your worst. And actually, what I've been doing recently, which I think helps, and by recently I mean like this game, I think I did it last game week too, is I went back to putting total punt lineups in. Like, I actually stopped doing it for a while because it used to be for XP. But then they were like, no, we'll do passive XP, don't worry about it. And I now do it for coins. Like, I legitimately coin farm. And I submit lineups that I know have no chance of winning. But I'm like, hey, that gets me 100 coins. That's great. And Keith makes fun of me because he's like, you don't even spend your coins, which is also true. St. Pauli goal. Hopefully Vasil has an assist. I don't think I'm winning, excuse me, All-Star Limited this week. But I'm just like throwing lineups in. And actually, because of the absurdity of the last ones I'm putting in, I don't feel as bad. Like, I put in a U23 rare plus lineup this week. I was going to play U23. So I put this in. This has no chance, realistically. This one certainly doesn't. I've got a pure easy DNP into Kaiser. Simseer didn't play last week. There's no news. They played Monday. Who knows? But like, I put it in anyway. So Germ said, I thought they stopped passive XP. If coins are the future, like they mentioned, can't be dumb to farm now. So they announced passive XP was stopping with the update that of something else. I don't even remember. And then they changed their mind. And so it's still there. Yeah, it's still there. Ben said, your no chance lineups are better than my priorities. This is I mean, I don't want to say this has no chance, but it's not, that's uncompetitive in U23 rare plus. Like, one super rare, he's at home to Anderlecht. Yeah, I mean, I could luck box it. Sure. And that's why you put it in. Why not? But I got plenty of these. Like, yeah, this one, U23 limited. Like, this could have one starter. 2 realistically. Champion Europe rare plus. Right, rare plus, no super rares. Like, some of these are fine. Oh, that's a good point, though. I do have a 100 ETH card here. You got to captain the 100 ETH card when you have it. Sorare Soul says easy 100 from Bake. So, yeah, Soul completely, well, yeah, screwed me this week. But like, I have a Key rare and super rare and Osmar super rare, both suspended. I had Gabby Florentin, he was suspended. Like, I had good cards that were just like out of the picture. Like this one, like Rever won't start. Gigs is probably out. That probably bothered people that I just called him Gigs. But I threw him in. Let me get my 100 coins. You need 100 points for 100 coins. And I'm like, looking at this one, I'm like, I might not get to 100 on that one. But just put it in. Why not? Like, these, none of these are that great. I actually do like this one. Anyway. The show isn't about that. But yeah, I found the lineup process a little better this week. And maybe it's because I was like trying to convince myself it was okay, as Keith was like talking about how horrible it was. And I was like, I think this is actually like, I think I think I just need to get over the like my lineups are no good while I'm putting my lineups together and just be like, just play for what I can play for. And if I can, and if while doing the lineups, I see some obvious gaps, like, oh, I could really use a challenger midfielder, then I can learn that. But ultimately, I don't know. I'm just, yeah, you play the cards that you have. I'm not going to try to like buy cards 2 minutes before the deadline because I'm maybe missing something. But I don't know. I think I'm turning on the fact on lineups being so bad. Then again, we have a midweek coming up, and that's when I'll probably get pissed anyway. Scosmo got a clean sheet to start the game week. Let's go, man. Daniel Cooper said I used to dream for times like this. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see what I obviously have my goalie who's conceded twice already in for Hoyer Fernandez. What's he up to now? 36. Let's see what we got today. Oh, Heronveen, right. Yeah. Anyway, if anybody has any more questions, Soros will just put one in. So Ben Johnson said 4-man threshold and 280s is so impressive to me. I agree with that. Yeah, just spit up some questions. Let's see what we got here. Which regular guest do you find yourself disagreeing with the most, even if you don't publicly show it? I think I don't hide my disagreements. I like to think I don't. I think I think the obvious answer is Sean. And it's not that I disagree with Sean on things. I think it's just that in terms of if it's not Sean, we riot. I mean, the reason why it's easy to say Sean is because that show and the topics that we cover just naturally lead to discussion. And we play the game differently because of our budgets. And that kind of applies to everyone. Like we all have different budgets. And so it's not fair to say that Sean and I disagree because of that. But I think the problem, I think not the problem, but I think where we disagree is I like to think that I look at things from a reality perspective and he doesn't. That sounds bad, but like if the whole like spend more money thing is becoming a meme and not even like a funny one, but it's like fundamentally that is the answer, which Sean is sort of proof of. Like he's very successful in this game and he spent a lot of money. I guess I should put it the other way. Sean has spent a lot of money and he's successful at the game. And we've seen people who spend a lot of money be successful in this game. And it kind of works that way. But it's also not it's not a realistic answer. It's the equivalent of like, I'd like to go to Europe. And someone's like, well, you could swim there. And it's like, well, I could, but that's not really the realist. And they were like, but you can. Like the water's right there. Just like go and swim, and it's there. And you're just like, well, are there other ways? And they're like, not really. That's really the best one because you can go exactly where you want to go. And that's actually a really bad analogy, but I can't think of anything better. But we know that's the answer, but it's also not a solution. And so that's why we disagree. But I don't even know if it's really disagreeing. Like we're basically arguing different things. And so I think we can both be right while also disagreeing. Something like that. I feel Sean's solution to a homeless person would be just buy a house. Yeah. Which like technically is the answer. Like if you want a house, you should buy one. Right? Like, can you disagree with that? Not really. But also, like, it's not reality. Ben said, if you had to live in any city that one of your Sorare cards play in, which city would it be? It's a good question. Like, I grew up in New York, like in Manhattan. And so I'm very particular to New York. But I've lived there already, so I don't really need to live there again, even though I would. Ben, so funny thing about that question is that if I went through my Sorare gallery, I'm not sure I could name the city that these cards, that these teams play in more than like 80%. Unless they like specifically had it in their name, if that makes sense. Apparently we have an own goal. I don't know. I haven't really traveled enough in my life to have gone to a lot of places where I would want to live, if that makes sense. Like I went to Brussels was that last year? Earlier this year? Whenever I went to Brussels, I loved Brussels. That was awesome. And we saw an Anderlecht game while we were there. Although I don't think that's technically in Brussels, right? I don't know. Ricomon said Lisbon. Lisbon seems awesome. I've never been to Lisbon. I would love to go to Lisbon. So I don't know if I would want to live there. It looks nice. I am definitely more of a warm weather person. So shout out to the Sorare Scandinavia Discord. Maybe I'll summer there. But I don't think I could live year round anywhere in Scandinavia, to be honest. But yeah, that's a good question. That's a fun one. Like, I don't know. Let's see. Like, Heerenveen is in Heerenveen, but like, is that a cool place to live? I don't know. It looks nice, actually, now that I look. I've been to Amsterdam. That was fun. Yeah, Croatia's got some nice places, I've heard. I've seen some. Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question, though. But theoretically, like there are there are probably few places where I don't have a card that I'd be like, oh, I wish I had a card from there. Yeah, I don't know. That's a fun one, though. That's a fun one. Those were actually two very good questions. Thank you for that. Osarahan said Heerenveen is not good. All right, that's fair. That's fair. We'll take it off the list. Let me just. What else you guys got? This is what I'm talking about, how important the chat is. Like we've gone, what is it, an hour and 4 minutes right now? I didn't really feel like stopping, but I also have nothing to say left. Got any Santa Clara? This is Santa Clara, California. My brother went to school there. Sarah Holland said Barcelona is nice. So I've heard that, but I've heard that Madrid is much nicer if you're like comparing Spanish cities. I don't think I have to. Do I have any? Yeah, I don't think I have any current players in Madrid. But maybe I'll go buy one just for the purposes of this game. Surfer said Barcelona much nicer than Madrid. Wow, I've heard literally the opposite. Come said Barcelona is flat, which is a plus. I don't know. I'm a incline walker. I'm fine with it. Madrid is nowhere near Barcelona, worlds apart. Near meaning like in quality or location. I know they're not like actually near each other. Mike said, I've heard this about Valencia. Yeah, beat both Madrid and Barcelona. Sorahan said, what game is at the top of your bucket list? I don't really have one. Somebody actually asked me this recently. Maybe it was in the Sorare Scandinavia Discord as I was like, oh, I should go there. Somewhere in Denmark. I don't know. Mom said, does the Carlos Hill card behind you have a redemption code for Super Rare Guild? It does not. It does have his autograph, though. He did autograph it. Supposedly. I don't know. Sorare Soul said Cadiz is the best city in Spain. Shout out to David Gill. It's Wilson. Is there a time of year that you enjoy Sorare the most, or is it just any time there isn't an international break? That's a good question. I think it's realistically when all my cards are playing. So, yeah. Bouncy, what do you got? Never watch football again or never play Sorare again? If never watching football was like professional football, I would never watch it again. I don't even watch that much of it right now. Ben, so the mint is 5 of 10. So I learned, and then here's the autograph. So I learned that the 5 used to be what Sorare always used for their like marketing campaigns. They still sold them. Like somebody owns the 5 of 10 and 5 of 100 and 5 of 1,000, but that's what they always use. But I think they recently switched to that. Yeah, Germ, that's right. Sorare love a 5 mint. Yep. Sorry, I feel like there was a comment I missed. Oh yeah, so the bucket list. I don't have a bucket list one, but I would love to. One day I'd like to just do a tour. It's life is not super friendly for that. Real life. Surface, what is your next Sorare goal? Getting a certain card, winning a specific comp, etc. So I know a lot of people do this. I just don't do that. I think like just winning a competition, I think is always what anyone's goal should be. And I think winning a specific card is really tough because just like the odds of landing on an exact card. I know it happened to Quinny, which is just wild and perfect, but I don't necessarily think that way. Yeah, like literally my Sorare goal is that it just keeps going. That's all I want. Like I really enjoy this game. Obviously, it has a significant effect on my own well-being in terms of, having a job. And so there's that, but yeah, I don't think there's anything specific. Yeah, I don't think so. Surahan said, how many competitions did you win so far? I think I've won 3. I've won All-Star Rare, Champion America Rare Pro, and Cap 240 Rare. Yeah, that's what my thing says, 3. Apparently I have 3 seconds and 2/3. I don't remember those, though. One of those might have been the Chris Brady and Cucho. Yeah. Daniel said, well, he wants to win a limited comp. Feels like it's probably the hardest thing to do. I believe that. Mike said, are we getting the pineapple cutting special still? That might be a Christmas special, part of the Christmas special that we're thinking of. It'll be a Sorare, Andrews. Why did I feel like there was another comment that I lost it? Oh well. Yeah, I think I just want to do better overall. Like, oh, that's exactly. Wait, where did that? Did they? Somebody asked if I am like worried about Sorare's future or something like that, but the comment is gone. I can't see it anymore. Um, I don't. I don't. I don't worry about Sorare's future because I. Oh, Ben said I deleted my message because I realized it was negative. I don't think it was negative at all, Ben. I think that was a worthwhile um, a worthwhile discussion. I don't even know if there's a whole discussion about it. Realistically, um, I don't worry about it, but that kind of goes back to like I can't do anything about it. Like Sorare's success is completely out of my hands. And so I guess you could make the argument that if I tried to get as many new users as possible and all that, but like realistically, I can't do enough for that. And so I don't worry about it because I can't do anything about it. I don't work for Sorare. I I enjoy the game. I enjoy everything that goes into my job that has to do with the game, and I just kind of try to focus on that. Could it be better? For sure. I think MLB and NBA could be better, but I think the football product is in a really good spot right now, and I don't know how successful it is, like money wise, for Sorare. And ultimately, that's kind of the important thing if we want it to keep going. But I don't think it's. I don't worry about it just because I can't. What does me worrying about it do other than um, other than getting me all upset? And also, speaking of the deleting because you realized it was negative, I think it's okay to have comments like that in the chat. Don't worry about that, Ben. Um, like I don't think it was. I didn't take it negatively. I think it's an important conversation to have. I just haven't yet had that conversation because I don't even really know what to say. But we're here. Lisa Mantella, we talked about the special edition cards earlier. They're amazing. Was Sorare started? What is TGT? Should I know what that means? Was Sorare started? TGT with Sorare. Oh, together. Sorry, I'm old, so I don't know what that means. No, Sorare Data was started by Maxime Hagenberger, Maxime HG on Sorare, basically as a way to get better at Sorare. And he is like a brilliant technical guy and was able to pull all the stuff from the API and the blockchain. And he made this website and decided to share it with other people. And then he decided to turn it into a business. And then he hired me. How many different special editions does it take for them to not be so special anymore? Away days, celebrations, moments. I don't know. I mean, there's like, what if it was 10%? What if there were like 100 special editions of every limited? Is that too many? I don't mean like 10% of a single, like, I don't mean there would be like 100, whatever these things called, celebration cards of every limited, but like, I don't know. Mike said, still one of the funniest days in Sorare Data history was when Maxime switched it off. I didn't even know he did that. Blue Tomato said, what's the name of the OG? What's the name OG, the guy who sold up 2 years ago? He was on Sorare Andrews. Do you think he would do another show? So that is Evaldo Basso, who I knew from my DFS days. And we joined Sorare. He actually might have joined Sorare before me. I adore Evaldo. I also haven't talked to him in a long time. He bought a professional soccer club right outside of Chicago. It's like a third division, maybe. And I haven't talked to him in a while. I will say, though, that people should go back and watch those shows They might have been back when they were on RotoWire. Maybe I'll find them. But he is a brilliant mind, and yeah, that was great. That was really great. Steel City, Mike. Steel City. Steel City FC. Bouncy said, "How did you and Maxime meet?" So, Andy Black is the reason I know Maxime. Andy reached out to me soon after I joined Sorare. I think he was a RotoWire subscriber very briefly when he thought maybe we had Jupiler League stats, and we didn't. But he reached out to me and said, "I saw that you've been posting some Sorare stuff. If you have any questions, like, I'd love to help." Like, it was crazy. Like that, literally, I think he DM'd me on Twitter, and that like single DM from someone who really didn't need to do that. Obviously, there there was some sort of self self benefit there, that like if I got on Sorare and then I brought all these other people on Sorare, that helps Andy. But like, I think he was just being really nice, and eventually he invited me into this Discord group that he had, and Maxime was in it. And I every so often I would, Maxime was just part of the Discord, and we chatted, and then I remember sending or having a question about Sorare data, something about it, and then Maxime and I just started chatting, and it was like nothing. And so just I've actually told the story about like eventually when Maxime offered me a job, but basically I met him in Discord. Like, for real, I met him in Discord. I worked for Maxime for months before I met him in person, and it was all because Andy DM'd me one day. That's right, Bouncy. What if he never sent that DM? Andy is a star tier community man, legend tier. For real though, like that DM like legitimately changed my life. Like it set my life on a path, regardless of like playing Sorare. Like, I literally have a full-time job now because of that. Mike, Maxime has never had hair. He's always been a shaved head guy since I've known him. But actually, one of the first shows I did with Andy at RotoWire was with Maxime. I think that was right. Let me see if I can find it. Like Sorare Andrews, I don't think people appreciate like how far back it goes. Let's see. This one doesn't even seem, these don't seem like they're totally in order. But yeah, Andy and I, some of these are like 2 and 3 years ago, or 2 and change. So the one with Evaldo is called "Why I Left Sorare." So if you guys just click on that, then you'll see. And then, the future of Sorare data is another one that we did. That's the first time I think I did it with Maxime. Those early shows were really something. Ben said, "Do you like remote work?" So that's another thing. Actually, I don't remember which. It was one of the early rabbit huntings, or I think it was rabbit hunting before Off Topic. But I've worked remotely for like 12 years. Obviously, not all with Sorare data, and so I can never work in an office again. It's just impossible. But Sorare data is a little weird one because everyone I work with is in Europe, pretty much, and so there's obviously a time thing, and sometimes with people who work locally but remotely, it's like there is an office you can go to, or people can meet up for drinks or whatever, and like I can't really do that. And so yeah, I see the people I work with once or twice a year basically, and the next one is going to be in 2 weeks, so that's why I'll be gone. Mike said, yeah, he was on those early shows when he used to do them at like midnight. So that the inside joke at Sorare Data, which I probably shouldn't tell anyone, is that Maxime like works East Coast of the US hours. Like he's a full night owl. Like there are times where we'll be chatting and like I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I'm like, dude, it's 6 hours ahead for you. But that's just how people work. But yeah, so Maxime and I met in Discord, and yeah, that's why I get to do what I do now. All right, we're at an hour and 21 minutes, so I'm going to go. I feel like you guys have better things to do, surely. But I was just thinking, so I'll be everything next week will be this regular, but will be the regular schedule. The week after is when it might get a little weird, and I probably will skip off topic because I will be flying home 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today? Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that was fun. And maybe we should do some more of questions like that earlier in the show instead of after. But anyway, thank you to everybody. Mike Basson said, is this the end of your working week once this is finished? No. I got hours left. But I love the stuff that I do. So it's like, barely feels like work, which is nice. So yeah. So thank you to everybody for joining. If you guys could please like the video, somehow subscribe if you have not already. And yeah, shout out to Quinny. And let's get it this weekend. This is our weekend. We'll come back next week and we'll be like, Laird, remember you said like, don't let the game week bother me? And like, how can I be bothered? Look at all this stuff that I won. And we'll all just celebrate together how much we won. So let's get it, everyone. Good luck.